UMO-Design dialogue series. I am Shyama Turiseti, co-founder UMO.Design and co-chair content UXIndia conference. For this episode, it's my pleasure to introduce Mario van der Muelen, our speaker at upcoming International Conference on Design UXIndia 2021. Hey Mario, it's my pleasure to have you on UMO.Design's a design dialogue series. UMO-Design community will be delighted to learn more from you in the lead up to UXIndia 2021. So let's get started with the big shift. We all have been seeing this transformation of sorts in the last 18 months, wherein it feels like as if so much of acceleration has happened in all aspects of our lives, right? So,
correct.
Can you share your thoughts on big shift in general, and then the role of design in this to start with?
Yeah, it's pandemic related, right? There's definitely a transformation, to use that term, in consumer culture and consumer sentiment in some really key ways. And what that means for professionals in UX is that more than ever, the visible empathy that we have for that consumer is a leading indicator to business success. Because we have to now make even more effort to design products and services that people really want. And the pandemic has sort of accelerated that. We were on a trajectory where seamlessness between offline and digital was becoming more and more important, but that has definitely accelerated now. And I think in some markets, we're way past the tipping point.
Awesome. So going back to what you have been doing, Mario, right? So you've been doing a lot in the domain of design as a specialist for innovation, research, design, user experience. You've been an author and the speaker at so many conferences and so many events yourself. So how do you see this big shift playing into what you do as in terms of all of your roles that you play? So as a designer, let's say, to start with, how has it influenced your practice?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
I think for me, I've always been perhaps more aware on designing for the who and not just designing the what.
Okay.
And typically our path in sort of shifts in markets or when new technology comes about is we do the what first and we figure out for who it is later. But I feel that more and more it becomes important that we truly understand our customer, our market, not just the attitudes that they have towards a product or a service, which is typically the data we work with the most, but that we look for opportunities to go a bit deeper and again, understand human behavior and what we can do to influence it or shape it or take advantage of that. So it's understanding needs and understanding behavior. And then not respond by just giving people more choices. It's responding with that reflection of understanding that this is how it fits or enhances their way of interacting with a product.
Got it. That makes me think of who and why, right? I think those are the most important factors. And then again, with this big shift and everything that's going on around, I think there have been few sectors that caught our attention. And then for obvious reasons, I think we all have been focusing on digital. We all have been focusing on how this pandemic has impacted our lives, be it in the work-life balance area or be it in the healthcare domain and few other domains which caught our attention because those seem like the most impacted ones as well, right? So do you think there are any other areas of interest or focus or attention that design community should be looking at apart from all these mainstream ones?
Definitely in the social sectors and in bringing the right communication and the right the right services to your market, right? Especially if it comes around healthcare. But if you look back to these categories that you've mentioned, the thing that we should not take for granted or that should not go unnoticed is the heightened use of artificial intelligence. And that, I think, will start to trickle over in things like marketing. That is already in play for some of the bigger brands, that they now will start to use data science, data understanding in shaping their marketing strategies. And these marketing strategies can be a part of a UX challenge that we need to solve, or they can be supplemental to it. And so what I'm anticipating more and more is that for us UXers, that awareness, that knowledge, that comfort around artificial intelligence, we need to build that. We need to start acquiring that understanding so that we can again bring the human perspective in it. AI, I believe, is one that is slowly and then suddenly going to matter for our profession, because we're seeing it in use in all these industries that you mentioned, in healthcare, in finances, etc. That's just going to create that way of working with data and insight and understanding across all categories.
Makes sense. So to do all these things, right? So I think designers have been trained in certain way all these years when it comes to educating them and all that. And then with now the focus shifting rapidly because of the transformation that we are talking about, right? So do you think what could education institutions do about it? I mean, so do you think the gap that used to exist before, perceived gap, is it widening? If you think it's widening, what can we do about it from education standpoint?
Yeah, that's a big challenge, because it almost seems unsurmountable, right? As soon as you begin in this industry, you could just never seem to be at a point where you feel you've mastered something, because by the time you do that, we've moved on. There's other things needed. For one, it would require us to really embrace that, the whole learning, the whole practice of it is never done. And so for myself and for the people I work with, I constantly remind us that we are practicing design. Well, we're not going to finish this, complete this, master it. We're continuously honing our practice on it. The other thing I think is going to be more and more important, and I can loop this back to the topic that I'll speak about at a conference, is our collaboration skills. Because this is going to be such a spectrum of different disciplines, and because this is not possible for one person to master or to grasp all of it, your collaboration qualities are just going to be that much higher and that much more needed to pull this off, to really rally true multidisciplinary collaboration into one purpose and one feel that a team can rally around. And it's my experience that we're not there yet. We're very quick to label our efforts as a collaboration, but not really. It's also because education, our schools, our institutions don't really teach us how to. We are rated on our individual skills, on our individual capacity and capability. And that sits a little bit ajar of real world design. If you graduate and you go into an agency or in-house teams, you're expected to contribute to a greater effort. And I see lots of fresh grads struggle with that. They put enormous pressure on themselves, thinking they need all the answers. How can we expect that of them, if ever, from anyone? They have this high this high concern around their value, and a lot of that is to do that they have to prove themselves individually first to be granted the certificate as being capable in design. And that same effort does not apply in the real world. It has to be done differently. It has to be done collaboratively. So if anything, I would say our academia could step up in finding ways to get us really fluent and comfortable in collaborating and in accepting the things that we don't master or are not capable of, and empowering someone else that is in that respect.
Interesting. Yep. In saying so, you already picked up on my next question that I was about to follow up on your topic at the conference.
Yes.
Would you like to add any more color to your topic that you're going to present at the conference?
It's really around this. I was very much confronted with our limitations around collaboration when we shifted our whole process to a work from home way of working. And that quickly flushed out just all the gaps and the misunderstanding and the assumptions and the things we take for obvious that others, don't see. Collaboration was really hurting at the start, and we had to care for it a lot differently. I've also taken lessons out of why is it that sometimes you have projects, they just flow, they just have a sense of momentum like all the time. Another project, be it that the topic is super interesting and our team is super capable, it's a churn. It's just not fun to get to that finish line.
Yeah.
And I've always designed in this practice around the principle that if we can design our own experience doing this work, we will deliver experience design.
Yeah.
And if we can create the empathy among us, empathy will be built in whatever we design, be it a product or a service. And so for the recent years, I've really paid attention to that. And I'm going to share some of basically the key thing, the key to it all, and why this one skill is the key to successfully collaborating, so that the sum of the parts of a team is actually, brings the synergy that we want.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the essential building block of what we do as designers. And as you said, I think we should feel and imbibe empathy to translate it into our products that our
Correct.
Users are going to use it, right? So can't wait to.
It doesn't happen enough. It doesn't happen enough, and I feel then it's people like ourselves, because we have that awareness. We then need to create it. We then need to facilitate it, or raise that awareness with others, so that it can happen quite naturally. Because it's those collaborations, regardless of the outcome of the product, because there's quite often some restrictions there, in that we see, we deliver 30% of what we see the potential could be, but we still have a really good feeling about it, because the way we work together to deliver it was just synergetic, was just cohesive.
Can't wait to listen to the full story at the conference, Mario. Looking forward to your talk. Next, which is my last question, is you yourself have been a constant speaker at our conference, UXIndia conferences over the years, right? So glad that you've been such a close partner with us all these years. So I would like to know your thoughts on UXIndia itself, how we have been evolving, and then what can we do better going forward?
It's funny because before our interview, we were quickly chit-chatting on that sense of always better. I don't know if it's needed to always do better, because that gives that pressure that what we do is perhaps not enough. I think there are constant opportunities that will present themselves just by keeping that awareness on where we could try different things or what more can be done. But I have to say that I've recognized over the 5-6 years of us working together, year upon year there has been new elements or differences to the conference. I think the biggest effort you guys have done is towards education. I've not yet had the opportunity to be part of that, because that takes it, that I want to give that a certain commitment before I could do that. So I'm actually not worried that the organization will run out of ideas. I would tend to say my advice would be to embrace them, to try them. They may not always work.
Yeah.
Some will stick better than others.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I think you got your formula down of what is the base offer.
Yeah.
And then tweaking it here and there, like this year with more lightning talks. I think that's a great idea because it just offers that much more opportunities for other people to be part of this.
Yeah. So what keeps you coming back to UXIndia year on year?
I've always enjoyed the interactions with the audience.
Nice.
It's different compared to other conferences in that the curiosity of the audience is just, they wear it on their sleeve. They're very open about new ideas. The audience is very much receptive of the different perspectives that our speakers will bring in. And so there's not that, sometimes you interact with audiences that have like this almost natural skepticism towards what you bring. I've never encountered that at UXIndia. There's always been this openness and this willingness to work with the ideas that are presented to them. And as speaker, that's intoxicating.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mario, for your time and for sharing your thoughts with our community. We all look forward to your talk at UXIndia 2021. Thanks again.
Thank you. Happy to be a part of it. Thank you.